Have you ever noticed that the most significant moments in your life rarely arrive announced? They do not come with trumpets or with signs so obvious that you could not possibly miss them. No, the great movements of God in a human life typically arrive in the quiet, in the ordinary, and often in the midst of what feels like complete and utter confusion. You have been waiting, you have been praying. You have been holding on to a promise, to a hope, to a sense that God had called you to something more than this present reality. And yet, the days have stretched into weeks, the weeks into months, and perhaps even the months into years. And in that time, you have been tested in ways you never imagined. You have been misunderstood, rejected, isolated, and exhausted. And if you are honest, the thought has crossed your mind that perhaps you were mistaken. Perhaps you heard God wrong. Perhaps you are not who you thought you were. But consider this for a moment. What if the struggle itself is the evidence that you are exactly where you are supposed to be? What if the pressure you are feeling is not a sign of failure, but the unmistakable sign that something is about to change? What if the next 24 hours are not just another day, but a spiritual turning point, a window of decision that will determine the direction of your life for years to come? Now, I am not speaking of some worldly prediction, some date-setting prophecy. I am speaking of something far more profound. I am speaking of the way God works in the soul. I am speaking of the pattern that runs through all of salvation history, a pattern that shows us that before every divine breakthrough, there comes a period of intense spiritual pressure, a time when everything feels like it is coming apart, a time when God seems silent, when the heavens seem brass, and when every door appears to be closing. And it is precisely in that moment that the enemy works hardest to convince you to give up. It is precisely in that moment that the demons whisper that you have been abandoned, that your prayers are useless, and that your faith is in vain. If you hunger for faithful Catholic teaching that strengthens your spiritual life instead of merely entertaining you, consider subscribing now. Many Catholics never hear these truths explained clearly, and each message builds upon the last. Now, let us understand what is happening. You have been feeling it for some time. A weight that you cannot explain. A restlessness that sleep does not cure. A sense that something is wrong, even when everything in your life appears to be in order. You have prayed, but the prayers feel empty. You have gone to Mass, but the consolation you once felt is gone. You have tried to be patient, but your patience is wearing thin. And perhaps you have even begun to wonder if God is punishing you, or worse, if He has simply forgotten you. The enemy would love for you to believe that. He would love for you to conclude that your struggles are meaningless, that your suffering is purposeless, and that your spiritual life is an exercise in futility. But the truth is something else entirely. The truth is that God is doing something in you, something that you cannot see, something that is unfolding right now in this very moment behind the veil of your current experience. And the reason you cannot see it is because it is not meant to be seen yet. It is meant to be believed. That is the nature of faith. It is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Consider the life of Saint Joseph. Here is a man chosen by God for an extraordinary mission, a man who would be the foster father of the Son of God and the protector of the Virgin Mary. And yet, what was his experience? He was a simple carpenter, a man of ordinary means, living in an ordinary town. He had no earthly title, no worldly recognition, no miraculous signs to validate his calling. He was a man of silence, a man of hidden labor. And then, in a moment, everything was turned upside down. His betrothed was found with child, and he was faced with a decision that would define his life. According to the law, he had the right to divorce her quietly. He had the right to protect his own reputation. But something happened in that moment. An angel appeared to him in a dream, and he was given a choice. He could trust what he had been told, or he could follow the easier path. He chose to trust, and because he trusted, he was given the grace to participate in the greatest event in human history. Now, do you see the pattern? Saint Joseph was tested. He was confused. He was placed in a situation that did not make sense. And it was precisely in that moment of confusion that he was called to obedience. He did not have all the answers. He did not see the full picture, but he trusted. And that trust opened the door for God to act. The same is true for you. The confusion you are experiencing is not a sign that you are on the wrong path. It is a sign that you are being tested. It is a sign that you are being prepared for something that is greater than anything you have yet experienced. But here is the catch. You must remain faithful. You must remain obedient. You must remain spiritually alert, because the enemy is not going to simply let you walk into your destiny without a fight. He is going to throw everything he has at you in an attempt to derail you. He is going to attack your mind, your emotions, and your body. He is going to plant seeds of doubt in your heart. He is going to use the people closest to you to discourage you. He is going to use your own fears and insecurities to paralyze you. And if you are not vigilant, you will fall. This is why the next 24 hours are so important. This is not a prediction of a specific event. It is a call to awareness. It is an invitation to recognize that you are in a spiritual battle and that the battle is intensifying. The Lord is about to move in your life. He is about to open a door, reveal a truth, answer a prayer, or call you to take a step of faith. And how you respond in that moment will determine everything. You cannot afford to be asleep. You cannot afford to be distracted. You cannot afford to be ruled by your emotions or your disordered attachments. You must be ready. You must be watchful. You must be prepared to say yes to whatever God asks of you, even if it does not make sense, even if it is uncomfortable, even if it requires you to let go of something you have held onto for a long time. Have you noticed that certain people have fallen away from your life recently? Perhaps you have felt a distancing from friends or even family members. Perhaps you have been excluded from opportunities that you once counted on. Perhaps you have felt a strange disconnection from things that once brought you comfort and security. This is not random. This is not coincidence. This is divine separation. God is preparing you for a new season, and He is removing everything that would hinder you from entering into that season fully. He is clearing the ground so that He can plant something new. But we often mistake this separation for loss. We grieve over what we have lost without realizing that what is being taken away is actually a hindrance. It is a weight that would slow us down. It is a chain that would bind us to a past that God wants us to leave behind. Think about the Israelites in the desert. For 40 years, God led them through a barren and desolate land. And during that time, He stripped them of everything they had known. They had been slaves in Egypt. They had known only oppression and forced labor. And yet, when they were finally free, they complained. They longed for the flesh pots of Egypt. They remembered the garlic and the onions. They forgot the cruelty. They forgot the suffering. And they grumbled against Moses. They grumbled against God. And because of their lack of trust, many of them never entered the promised land. They died in the wilderness. They were given an opportunity, a window of decision, and they chose to cling to the past rather than embrace the future that God was offering them. Now, I am not saying that this is a perfect comparison, but the principle remains. When God is preparing you for a new season, He will often allow you to be stripped of the things that you have become attached to. He will remove the false securities so that you can depend on Him alone. He will take away the crutches so that you can learn to walk by faith. And in the moment that this happens, you will face a decision. Will you cling to the old? Will you complain against God? Or will you trust that He knows what He is doing, even when you cannot see the outcome? Consider the story of Job. Here was a man who was blameless and upright, a man who feared God and shunned evil. And yet God allowed Satan to test him. He lost his children, his wealth, his health, and even the support of his wife. His friends accused him of sin. He was subjected to intense physical and emotional suffering. And in the midst of that suffering, he did not understand. He cried out to God. He questioned. He demanded an explanation. But he never abandoned his faith. He never cursed God. And in the end, God restored everything he had lost and gave him twice as much as he had before. But here is the point. Job's suffering had a purpose. It was not meaningless. It was a test. It was a trial that purified his faith and revealed the strength of his trust in God. And it is the same for you. The struggles you are facing, the disappointments, the delays, the isolation, all of it is preparation. It is purifying your faith. It is deepening your dependence on God. It is developing in you the virtues that you will need for what lies ahead. But you must recognize the nature of this season. This is not the time to retreat into fear. This is not the time to give in to despair. This is the time to be spiritually alert. The Lord is moving, even now, and He is calling you to a deeper level of faith and obedience. Now, you may be wondering, what am I supposed to do? The answer is simple, but it is not easy. You must remain faithful to the ordinary means of sanctification. You must pray, even when you do not feel like praying. You must go to confession and receive the Holy Eucharist with reverence and devotion. You must spend time in silence, listening for the voice of God. You must guard your senses, especially your eyes and your ears, because they are the gateways to the soul. You must avoid occasions of sin. You must be willing to sacrifice your own comfort, your own desires, your own will, for the sake of obedience to God. But you must also be aware of the spiritual attacks that are coming. The enemy is cunning. He will not attack you directly if he can deceive you more easily. He will plant doubts in your mind. He will tempt you to despair. He will try to convince you that your efforts are in vain. He will use your past sins to accuse you, to make you feel unworthy of God's love and mercy. He will distract you with worldly concerns, with business, with entertainment, with anything that pulls your focus away from what is truly important. You must recognize these tactics. You must resist them. You must rely on the grace of God, which is sufficient for all your needs. And here is something else. You must also be willing to let go. God is not just calling you to receive something new. He is calling you to release something old. He is calling you to surrender your own plans, your own dreams, your own understanding. He is calling you to trust that His ways are higher than your ways, and that His thoughts are higher than your thoughts. This is the hardest part, because you have invested so much in your own vision of the future. You have imagined how things should be. You have planned and strategized. And now you are being asked to lay it all down, to put it on the altar, and to trust that God will do what is best, even if it does not look the way you expected. Think about St. Peter. He was a fisherman. He was skilled and experienced in his trade. He knew the sea. He knew the fish. He knew how to make a living. But then Jesus came and told him to launch out into the deep and let down his nets. Peter hesitated. He was tired. He had worked all night and caught nothing. But he obeyed. He said, "Master, at thy word I will let down the net." And what happened? He caught such a large number of fish that his nets broke. He was forced to call his partners to help him. And then Jesus said to him, "Do not be afraid. From now on you will be catching men." Peter had to leave his old life behind. He had to leave his nets, his boats, his security. He had to follow Jesus into the unknown. And he did. he said yes. And because he said yes, he became the rock upon which Christ would build his church. Now, where are you being called to launch out into the deep? Where are you being called to let down your nets? What is God asking you to surrender? What is he asking you to trust him with? The next 24 hours may not bring an obvious external event, but they will bring a choice. They will bring an invitation, and you must be ready to respond. You must be ready to say yes, even when it costs you something, even when it does not make sense, even when you are afraid. You may be in a situation right now where you do not know what to do. You have prayed for direction, and the direction has not come. You have sought counsel, and the counsel has been conflicting. You have looked for open doors, and you have found only closed doors, and you are tempted to give up. You are tempted to settle for something less than what God has promised you. You are tempted to take matters into your own hands. But I am telling you, do not do it. Do not give up. Do not settle. Do not take the easy path, because you are on the verge of a breakthrough. The Lord is about to do something new in your life, but you must wait, you must trust, and you must remain faithful. Consider the words of the prophet Isaiah. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Waiting is not passive, it is active. It is a posture of trust. It is a decision to place your hope in God rather than in yourself. And it is in the waiting that your strength is renewed. It is in the waiting that you are prepared. It is in the waiting that you are transformed. But there is also a warning. The window of decision is open, but it will not remain open forever. The Lord is patient. He is merciful. He gives you time. But there comes a moment when the decision must be made. There comes a moment when the invitation is extended and you must respond. If you hesitate, if you delay, if you allow your fears and doubts to hold you back, you may miss the moment. You may miss the opportunity. And while God will always offer you another chance, the consequences of missing this moment could be significant. You could prolong your season of testing. You could delay the blessing that God has prepared for you. You could cause yourself unnecessary suffering. Now, I do not say this to instill fear. I say this to encourage you to take action, to make a decision, to commit yourself fully to the path that God has set before you. You have been given everything you need. You have the sacraments. You have the scriptures. You have the teachings of the church. You have the example of the saints. You have the intercession of Our Lady and the angels. You are not alone. The entire communion of saints is interceding for you. And the Lord himself is with you, even now, even in the midst of your confusion and struggle. So, I ask you, in the next 24 hours, what will you do? Will you remain faithful? Will you remain obedient? Will you remain spiritually alert? Will you say yes to whatever God asks of you? Or will you shrink back? Will you allow fear to paralyze you? Will you allow the enemy to deceive you? Will you allow the weight of your struggles to overwhelm you? The choice is yours, and the Lord is watching. He knows what is in your heart. He knows your intentions. He knows your desires, and He is waiting to see if you will trust Him. Do not be afraid to let go. Do not be afraid to step into the unknown. The Lord is with you. He will not leave you. He will not forsake you. He will guide you by His grace, and He will strengthen you by His Spirit. The next 24 hours are not just a window of decision. They are a window of grace, a window of opportunity, a window of breakthrough. The Lord is about to move. He is about to do something new. And if you will remain faithful, if you will remain obedient, if you will remain spiritually alert, you will not be disappointed. But understand the gravity of what I am saying. This is not a game. This is your spiritual life. This is your eternal destiny. The decisions you make today, even the seemingly small ones, have eternal consequences. The Lord is refining you. He is purifying you. He is preparing you to bear fruit that will last. Do not resist the process. Do not resent the struggles. Embrace them. See them as evidence that God is at work. See them as proof that He has not abandoned you, but that He is positioning you for something greater. The writer to the Hebrews says, "The Lord disciplines those He loves, and He chastises every son He receives." Discipline is not punishment. It is training. It is preparation. It is love. The Lord is training you. He is building your character. He is deepening your faith. He is making you more like Himself. And the suffering you are enduring today is not meaningless. It is the fire that purifies gold. It is the pruning that strengthens the vine. It is the discipline that produces a harvest of righteousness and peace. Now, I want to give you a final image to hold in your heart. Imagine a seed. It is small, hard, and seemingly lifeless. It is hidden in the darkness of the soil. It is surrounded by pressure and moisture. It seems to be alone, buried, forgotten. But in that darkness, a transformation is taking place. A root begins to grow. A shoot begins to emerge. And one day, without warning, the seed breaks through the surface of the soil. It reaches toward the light. It becomes a plant, then a flower, then a tree that bears fruit. The seed had to be buried before it could grow. The seed had to face the pressure of the soil before it could break through. The seed had to endure the darkness before it could see the light. And the very process that seemed to be its destruction was actually its preparation for life. You are that seed. You have been buried. You have been hidden. You have been pressed. But the darkness is not your end. It is your beginning. The breakthrough is coming. The light is coming. The fruit is coming. But you must remain in the soil. You must remain patient. You must remain faithful. You must not give up, because the Lord is about to bring you forth. He is about to reveal the work He has been doing in secret. So, I leave you with this. The next 24 hours are not about a prediction. They are about a readiness. They are about a posture of the heart. They are about a decision to trust, to obey, and to persevere. The Lord is moving, and He is calling you to move with Him. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. Do not give up. The chosen one is not the one who is free from struggle. The chosen one is the one who remains faithful in the struggle. The chosen one is the one who trusts God when nothing makes sense. The chosen one is the one who says yes, even when it costs everything. May you be ready. May you be faithful. May you be obedient. And may the Lord bless you, keep you, and reveal His glory in your life. Chosen one, what looks like a delay is actually preparation. What feels like rejection is actually protection. And what seems like silence may be the final moments before God reveals what He has been doing all along. The Lord is with you. Trust Him. Obey Him. And watch what He will do. Amen.